In this moment where we have celebrated Juneteenth and we are paying attention to Black Lives Matter as a movement to some and a moment to me, folks are still figuring out that the Tulsa Race Massacre happened, and we've seen NASCAR take a stand against the Confederate flag, but they are joined by the Southeastern Conference and the NCAA. The Southeastern Conference saying, look, we're not going to hold competition in the state of Mississippi as long as that symbol is on Mississippi state flags tucked into the upper left-hand corner and has been for decades. It even came up on the ballot in the 21st century and was voted to remain. So it is not as if someone has not already tried to do this. This is clearly something that Mississippians want. And this is in a state that is 36% black, and where we know most black folks vote Democratically as opposed to Republican. So there are a bunch of people that show up to vote for that flag as a part of a Republican measure as well. I point that out because in the state of Mississippi, you're going to have a fight to get rid of this flag, even as we've had college football coaches like Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach be among many who have stood by those who want to see this flag removed. They did so at the state legislature on Thursday, lobbying for the Confederate emblem to be removed. Lane Kiffin told ESPN, "We removed the flag from our campus 5 years ago, so we've made it clear that it doesn't represent who we are at Ole Miss." That is the flagship of the state of Mississippi. Today is another big step in doing our part to move the state forward and ensure a more welcoming environment for everyone. This is extremely important to me and our players. Time to change. We had Mike Leach say, the purpose of a state flag is to create pride and enthusiasm amongst the citizens. It also should create great energy to elevate the economy, education, and athletics. The current flag doesn't do that. We need a state flag that everyone is proud of. Wasn't that long ago that the state flag was blue and it had the picture of a tree blossom in it called a magnolia. It's outstanding. As a matter of fact, I got to introduce my favorite 4-year-old to magnolia trees by lifting her into the air so that she could smell the blossom, and she told me it smelled delicious. Thank you, RJ. It's not a bad way to go. It's also being kind of pushed and forced lately by Mississippi State running back Kylan Hill, who tweeted earlier this week that he would not be, quote, representing this state anymore, unquote, until the flag is changed. Kylan Hill is perhaps the best player at Mississippi State, though KJ Costello might actually win that title from him this year with Mike Leach going to the air raid this year. But also this is a big one for Mike Leach, who stepped in it earlier this year when he tweeted a photo of a woman with a noose as a joke that the woman was getting ready to be a widow. It did not go over well. It did not go over so well that more than one player on Mississippi State's roster hit the portal. I bring that up because I believe this is an opportunity for Mike Leach to show what he is doing to change. Many of you will know I adore Mike Leach. I really love him, and he has been a guest on this show. I also am standing next to all who would like to see an emblem that is identified as hate speech removed from us, the only state flag left in the entire country that has it. And we are really reckoning with a past that I've already known that's been there, but many of you are just figuring out. Like, for instance, 1923, the Texas State Fair. That Texas State Fair in Dallas held a Ku Klux Klan Day. It's a big deal. A lot of white folks showed up for it and black folks were banned from it. You might understand. The University of Oklahoma itself had a yearbook page dedicated to the KKK. And in an expose in 1922 about American higher education, Upton Sinclair actually went further with this, writing, "An interesting demonstration of the policy of depriving college professors of their citizenship has just been given at the University of Oklahoma. Here is a state of oil speculators and starving tenant farmers. One of the products of their degradation is the squalid frenzy known as the Ku Klux Klan. And the Board of Regents has just issued a decree declaring that the university must, in quotes here, keep the goodwill of all factions and parties, unquote, and therefore members of the faculty are forbidden to take part in the controversy over the Klan. What this means is they are forbidden to oppose it. Sinclair noted that he was told on good authority that the president of this board and a member of the Klan was also vice president of the university, and about 2/3 of the faculty were members. This is 20th century stuff. This is not Civil War stuff. This is 70 years after the Civil War. And we're talking about these things, and I'm talking about these things, because now I feel as if folks are ready to listen to them in a way that they quite frankly had never been ready to listen before. And as I continue to point out, this is my heritage. These are the things that I was taught to know. I was given books to read. I was given people to speak with. I was educated. I am learning now that I need to be an educator. So I am giving you this data, not to antagonize you, but to help you understand what is at stake when we talk about police brutality. To help you understand what is at stake when we talk about policies of inclusion and diversity. To help you understand what's at stake when I am coming after Oklahoma State University for how it has chosen to handle Mike Gundy's repeated embarrassment of it as an institution. Because as easy as I think it would be to just ask for Mike Gundy to be removed, I haven't done that, and nobody on this station has done that. What I have done is demonstrate for you who Mike Gundy has been to suggest who Mike Gundy will continue to be. And to date, we don't have any data to show any change. Now, whether or not you believe that it should be up to anybody else what happens to Mike Gundy, the fact of the matter is when you work for someone, there are levels of decorum that you must meet. And you just read one I just read one and gave to you the decorum that you must meet at the University of Oklahoma, which was to say you can't oppose the Klan, just as you couldn't oppose anybody else in public. What people do in their own homes is what people do in their own homes. And if you have hatred in your heart at your house, I feel bad for you and I pity you. But the more that we will limit the ways that you will display your prejudice in public, the better off we all are as a society. I mentioned the state of Texas, I mentioned the state of Oklahoma because I want you to understand it's not just here and it's not just there. It has been everywhere. I love the state of Louisiana, right? What Ed Orgeron has been able to be for the state of Louisiana, what LSU Tigers football has been able to be to the state of Louisiana and this country is a huge deal. This is also a state that had David Duke this close to being governor. He made it that far. He was elected to office, running on ideals that he proclaimed as, I'm here for white America. As if to say, only white America. Not you, not me. I look at Mike Leach, I look at Lane Kiffin, I look at the SEC and the NCAA, I look at Bob Stoops, I look at Lincoln Riley, I look at Tom Herman, I look at Sam Pittman, and I see men who understand. I also see men that want to be able to recruit. As I pointed out many times over, the NFL is 70% black. 6% of the entire population of the United States is black and male. College football largely consists of black players. 56% of Mike Gundy's roster is black. More than that of Lincoln Riley's roster is black. More than that of the University of Texas roster is black. And a student body population in the University of Texas that is just 5% black. It matters. It matters. Take this knowledge to heart. Do what you can to contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way.